always include in your opt-in forms a explicit consent question. Now, it doesn't have to be, can I send you text messages? If you ask the question that way, you will get less than 50% of people to say yes. Nobody wants text messages from you. However, with the wording on the screen here, would you like the PDF immediately texted to you, or would you like the link to the video sent to you immediately by text? Those are ways that we had phrased the questions and went from about under 50% opt-in for text to over 85% opt-in for text with valid phone numbers. Here's the ideal outcome from our strategy and tactics we're going to talk about today. This is what I'm assuming you're here for, is you want to figure out how do I get more of my leads to book to appointment or demo, whether you use a setter or whether you're using some sort of automation to help with that. That's probably the outcome you're looking for. And if you are using setters and closers, you're probably looking for more appointments, closing more sales, making more money for them. And that way you keep your top performers. If any of you have salespeople, you know that you lose top performers when they lose opportunity to make money. And once you have a top performer that's making a lot of money, if your compensation structure is right, that means you're making a lot of money too. And so we want to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to keep your top performers and attract more top performers. And you're probably also wanting to become more profitable, stable, and scalable. When my business math aligns up, where my lead cost is X, my conversion to appointment is this, and then over here I've got these sales demo conversion rates, and those all lead to 30 to 40% margins in my business, I'm probably feeling pretty happy. I'm profitable, I'm stable, and now I can spend more on ads, knowing that my funnel will generate a consistent percentage of profit output. And so that's where we're all trying to get to. That's what business is about. We are trying to provide a good service for our customers, but on the back end, we have to look at what is our model and what is our business math. There's a business math makes sense. And there's a lot of other ways we can influence this. We're not going to talk about upsells, cross-selling, acquiring other companies so you can cross-promote products. Those are all different tactics that work great. We're going to talk today about just becoming more efficient at lead to demo, demo to show up to increase your sales. And then if you can do this, you can afford to profitably outspend your competition. So what I mean by that is if my competition can only afford $40 a lead because their lead conversion is too low, and anything above that, they cut the ads. Well, if I can go to $50, $60 a lead, I might be able to make it work out better because I have a better lead to appointment to show up and show up conversion rate. So if all those conversion numbers are better, I can profitably outspend my competition and get customers they can't afford to get. I can also go into markets and invest in things that they can't invest in because I've got a great flow from lead to conversion. Now, one of the things that when I was researching this is that buyers are right now, because of the way that technology works, internet, they're pretty much 80% of the way there through the sales process before they actually talk to a salesperson. They kind of have an idea of what they want, what they're looking for. Buyers are more savvy today than they were 20 years ago by far. The access to information is much greater. The ability to read your online reviews is much greater. Just think back pre-internet, like when I was growing up, you couldn't go online to read reviews. Like you had to trust the reviews they had posted in the storefront or whatever, or if they posted in the yellow pages an ad and they had testimonials there, you're pretty limited on finding out the real reputation of a company. But now people can do a lot of research before they even talk to someone. So most of the people are making a big chunk of the decision making before they even get on the phone call with somebody. So how do you get on the call with those people who've already made most of the decision already to buy? Now they're just trying to figure out who to buy from. So here's why our strategy is working. And this is the strategy we're going to go over in just a second here. Humans still close better than AI and automation. Okay, no matter what automation tool you're using. Like I've heard this, you probably heard this recording of this AI selling someone on the new Apple Vision Pros, right? The lenses that are $3,500. And it was an AI talking to the person. If that conversation was happening with me, I would be like, okay, why are you so slow, dude? This is like way too slow and there's too many pauses. I probably wouldn't know it was AI right away, but I would feel like something was off, right? But that was the one example. I've not heard another example being pushed out there because I don't think it's very easy to train on a broad knowledge of your products or services on how to sell to someone specifically. If it's a specific product, yes, I think voice AI can work really well for that. But for most of our businesses, because we have more of a technical sale or technical product, then it's going to be harder to do this with AI. Also, it's a lot harder to train it to understand what are the core things that our customers care about in a way that makes it to where it's easy for the AI to answer those things. So yes, is it possible? Sure. Is it there yet? No. Humans still close better than AI. we can leverage what we can be, we leverage what can be automated while preserving the actions that build trust and connection. What this means is we're not trying to over automate. Okay. We're trying to just leverage the things we need to automate and things that'll give us more focus on the right actions and still make those human connection touches that we can do ourselves. So that's why this works, is that we're leveraging what we can leverage without leveraging everything, so that we don't lose the ability to have a conversation. And our automation is designed to start a conversation, not to take the whole conversation start to finish. There are certain conversations you can take further along than others, but the real goal is here is to get a human involved once someone's interested in having a conversation. Because as we know, most people are on their journey to making a buying decision before they ever interact with us. So taking the automation and giving it to the automation or AI to finish the sale is probably going to yield a lower result currently. In 2 to 3 years, we might be in a different conversation. And if that happens, we'll be changing our conversation, our focus. But right now, this is the outcome that we're seeing, is that AI still doesn't trump human sales. Humanize with video or audio, and that's what we're going to talk about. How do you make it to where your follow-up is more personal using both your voice and video, whether it be phone calls or text message? Text message, you can send voice, you can send video, you can send images. How do you make it more human and make it feel more personal? We'll talk about that as well, and that's why this strategy works. So the first thing we need to do when we're doing any type of follow-up campaign to leads is understand how are we going to market to them, right? And this is a joke. This is like an inside joke between my brother Ryan and I. We used to always call this marketing rule number 19. There's not 18 other rules. We just threw this one in as a random number. But marketing rule number 19 is, if I need to text and call a lead to sell, I first need to capture the number and permission to text. So I need to know how I'm going to follow up and how I'm going to sell to that prospect before I lead generate, so I can have the right opt-in information, the right information. So if I need to send something in mail, I don't need to know that, so that I can end the opt-in, or somewhere on that first few steps, get them to commit to giving their mailing address. Or if I'm going to get in, send an email to them, I need to know I have their email address so I can email them as well. So however I'm going to follow up and sell, I need to know that beforehand so I can make sure my process is gathering that information. Just as an example, my brother and I had started our first business together in 2007. Infusionsoft was our first purchase. It was expensive, but we knew we needed it because my brother worked in automation with other businesses, helping them set up their Infusionsoft apps. And we recognized that with our business, we were selling to real estate agents a service and coaching and information. In order to do that, we needed to gather a lot of information to get them to show up to these live events. So we got their fax number. That was a thing back then. We got their mailing address. We sent them a letter or card if they registered at least 5 days before the event. We got their phone number, so we called them before the event. And we got their email address so we can email them reminders. So we knew how we had to follow up with them, included all these things. So in our opt-in page, we gave it very good copy and very good reasons of why they should give us information. A lot of people default to, well, if I ask for less information, I'll get more leads. Maybe, but your quality may not be as good, because now you're not required to have really good copy, really good calls to action, really good pain points in order to get them emotionally involved enough to say, yes, I need this. There's urgency here. I want this. I'm going to give you whatever you ask for. And so that's what is required. If you're asking for a lot of information, you do have to up your game a little bit. You have to make sure that you're asking for the right information based on how you're going to follow up and sell, and you're going to qualify leads that way as well. Your lead costs might go up slightly, but now your customer acquisition costs might even go down, because now I'm focusing on the right people with the right mediums. So I went a little bit deeper than I normally go on that, but I want you to understand marketing rule number 19, know how I'm going to sell so I can lead generate properly and ask for the right information. So this is something that I tested with one of my businesses. On Facebook one year, we generated about 100,000 leads. I pulled all those leads out. I looked at the list and saw, okay, how many of these leads said, yes, I can text them? The first month when we were doing this, we simply had a text opt-in. And I should go back, I guess, and step on or talk about the reason why we have to get an opt-in. If you're in the United States and in other countries that have similar rules, if you're texting prospects or customers, we are required to have an opt-in. It has to be an explicit consent to receive text. It can't be fine print terms of service. They fill out a form, I can text them. A lot of people do that. And unfortunately, when they get sued, they don't have any way to protect themselves. So what we teach our customers to do is always include in your opt-in forms a explicit consent question. Now, it doesn't have to be, can I send you text messages? If you ask the question that way, you will get less than 50% of people to say yes. Nobody wants text messages from you. However, with the wording on the screen here, would you like the PDF immediately texted to you, or would you like the link to the video sent to you immediately by text? Those are ways that we had phrased the questions and went from under 50% opt-in for text to over 85% opt-in for text with valid phone numbers. So out of that 100,000, we had over 85,000 people that gave us a valid phone number and said, yes, you can text me. Because we phrased the question with a benefit statement. I want the PDF that you convinced me I needed in your ad, and speed, right? Urgency, immediately. So those two things combined make it to the third one's really not as relevant. Like text it to you. Yes, I want it by text because you guys are saying if I want it now and I want the thing that you promised me, I'm saying yes to text. So we're kind of combining an opt-in with the the call to action here. Now, if they say no, I'm still going to email it to them. I don't tell them that because I don't want them to say, yeah, just say no because I'm going to get it by email. But if they say no and they fill out the form, I'm still going to email them this the PDF or the video link. So this is how we can open the door to texting. Now, why do we want to open the door to texting? This goes into the overarching strategy that we're going to talk about here because we want to be compliant, because we want to make sure that we have permission to text. And if we ever get audited, we have all these records, right? So what we're doing is we're saving that response in lead form or the opt-in page, saving it to a custom field inside of Keep. Now, off this custom field, I can do some magic. If you know Keep and you know how decision diamonds work, you basically can make it to where when the lead comes in, I can look to that field and say yes, go to the top campaign. If it says no, go only to the bottom campaign. Now, if it says yes, it goes to the top and bottom. So they get the email campaign, but they also are added the text campaign. And then once they start an account, set the point or say they're not interested, then we'll stop the follow-up in those campaigns. But until then, they stay in those campaigns. So this is one way that we can make sure that we're opening the door to texting and only texting those that want to receive messages from us. Now, the goal here is to get them to reply to a message. Now, I'm going to go over the overarching strategy and how it works for a setter and give you an example of the flow. But I want you to focus first on why we're trying to get them to reply. We wanted to use vCards and our name or whoever's sending the message. So if you're using sales reps or setters and you're signing the lead inside of Keep, you can merge in their name into the message so it comes from them specifically and put that name in there saying, here's their vCard and saying, hey, this is Trent. You put that message there, or at the end of the message, put hyphen Trent as the person that wrote the message. The reason why I want to do this is because it allows us to get inside their phone and their phone will recognize us. So Mary, this is Trent with Fix Your Funnel. I'm getting this ready to send off the PDF you requested via email as well. I guess I wrote this wrong. It should say I'm getting ready to send off. Should I CC anyone else or send it to you directly or send it to you only? Now, this is a message I'm having triggered within 2 to 5 minutes of the lead coming in. I don't do it immediately. I do a small pause because I want them to feel like this could be a real person sending this. And then later on, I could send another message the next day. Were you able to send the PDF I sent? Someone I had mentioned they couldn't get it to load, so I wanted to double check. Just let me know either way. Now, this may or may not be something that commonly happens with you. It does with us. Someone says, I didn't get it, I couldn't find it. So we send this message as a way, one, to check in, and then we do get responses. People said I couldn't find it or I didn't see it. And then two, it also gives us the opportunity to have a conversation started. Because when I get them to reply, something happens. If someone replies to me like this message here, hi Trent, this is Devin from Fix Your Funnel. Are you free to chat? I responded to that message. Because I responded to one message from Devin, now if he calls me or if he texts me, it's going to suggest that this is Devin. Why? Because now my phone recognizes this is a wanted conversation. There's been a two-way back and forth. And two, this person introduced themselves in the first message or in a vCard. And so the phone can now take that information, present it to me when they call or when they text. So now a known caller is calling me. Now a known sender is texting me because I have some interaction with them. So this is very powerful. A lot of people don't understand that since the phones changed their software a few years ago, this has been a big hurdle for a lot of businesses. They don't know how to get their conversation started. They don't know how to get the person to answer their phone or for their phone call to even show up. A lot of times they won't even see it or they won't recognize the number and they'll just send it to voicemail. So by doing it this way, we're increasing the chance that they might pick up their phone. The call connection rate goes up. Now, here's another thing we do to get them to reply. We do what's called a pre-call text message or pre-call SMS. What we do with this is before we do our outbound calls to our warm lead list, let's say I get a list loaded in my dialer and it's all people that have opted in just in the last 24 hours or last hour, whatever it is. I'm calling my list. I would click on the pre-call text button, which is pre-written messages. I might have their name merged in there like John, is now a good time or would later be better. By clicking that button, it sends the pre-call text. And then if they respond to that, that's a win for me. Even if they say I'm not interested, I can clean up my list and spend less time on them. But all the other options and responses are usually just as good or better because they're telling me, hey, don't call me right now. I'm in a meeting. great. They just opened the door to texting and call. Now, if I call them back or text them back, it's more than likely to show up as someone that they know. And the other thing is if they say, hey, call me later, I'm busy until 4 o'clock. Now I just scheduled an appointment that otherwise, if I just was calling and not texting, I wouldn't have known that. So that's one way we can get them to reply. Second is a video text with question. Now, what this is like the video that I sent to a lot of you yesterday. Sorry if you didn't get one from me. Devin and I were tag teaming. Hopefully you all got a video, but we did those videos because we wanted to show you the power of a personal message. And not everyone responds to that. Not everyone opens it, but I don't care. The fact is that enough people respond, enough people see it, and enough people watch the videos that it has an impact on like, wow, this person took time and invested in reaching out to me about something and made me feel like they actually cared about me. So the whole point of that is to humanize you as a person so that you increase the trust between you and the person you're reaching out to. You add a face to the name, and it makes it easier for them to treat you like a human when you call or text them later on versus just sending you to voicemail, ignoring you. Now, another way we can help to elicit a response is by using MMS audio messages. So from my mobile phone here, I can open up my Fix Your Funnel app. I can open up a contact I've been chatting with, or that maybe I have a message to send out to them, and I can record an audio message and append that and then send that off. The reason this is powerful is a lot of people have told us that because it's not normal that a business will text them an audio file, they're curious to like, what is this? Then listen to it, and I say their name. So it sounds very personal. It's very like, hey, Mike, I saw that you requested that PDF about how to grow your business. Just want to make sure you got it. My name is Trent. You can text or call me back on this number. If there's anything I can help you with as far as understanding the strategy, love to schedule a one-on-one call with you to go over that. Shoot me back a text message though, replies, let me know what is your industry, what do you guys do? And I'd love to share some specifics for your business. So that's a great way to use that to generate, again, a reply. That's the goal here, is to use these other mediums that people aren't using so we can stand out and make it more personal. And then after I get on a call with somebody, because if they don't answer, I'm probably not going to be very personal in my response. But if they answer the call, even if it was like, hey, my business partner's not available, he's out of town till next week. Let's try back then. We'll see if we can schedule something. Cool. Now what I can do is after that call, right away, I'm going to write a message saying, hey, Devin, you said to call this, check in this week. Just wanted to check back in and see if your business partner's back in town. Hopefully, he enjoyed his trip to San Diego. We'll talk to you soon. Now I'm going to schedule that for the day after he said his business partner should be arriving back in town. Now, by doing this, I'm using automation. I'm using our tools here to schedule this message to go out at a future date with a very, very specific and personal message. What this does, it makes me look like a rock star. Like I'm really good at follow-up. The reality is I just, at the end of every call, I think about what are one or two personalized messages I can schedule out in the next week or two so I can keep in communication with them and not have automation step on my toes. As a salesperson, I hate it when I send something to someone and then an automated message goes out, says something totally off the wall. And then I have to say, oh, sorry, that was automated. And now it makes me look bad, right? But if I can now control that once I've had a conversation, pull them out of the automations and now have scheduled personalized messages, I can go in and do that. And so we're going to go over that and how that works and how you can even stop those. If you like get a response back and now the one next week's not pertinent anymore, tap that and delete it. And I don't have it go out, but I can always see what's going on because I scheduled those personally as a salesperson.